Hello my friends, in today's video I'm going to take a closer look at one of the most beloved Disney villains, Scar from The Lion King. No, not that one. That's better. We all know the story, so there's no need for a retelling. Instead, I'm here to challenge the common perception of Scar as a cunning and manipulative character. Today I'll prove that Scar was actually an idiot and making it up as he went along. He also wasn't nearly as cunning as you remember. Don't believe me? Stick around. Let's begin by acknowledging that Scar is a Disney villain, and he needs to be evil just to drive the plot forward. However, even with this inherent evilness, we can still evaluate how effectively he pursues his sinister goals. Scar's motivation stems from his deep-seated jealousy towards his successful sibling, Mufasa. It's clear that Scar feels overshadowed by Mufasa, who is stronger, the king of Pride Rock, and commands an impressive presence. Right from the first scene, Scar's jealousy is apparent. His very first line of dialogue focuses on how unfair life is and how he will never be king. Scar openly expresses his envy in front of Mufasa.
Well, I was first in line, until the little hairball was born.
That hairball is my son.
Which becomes his first mistake. While wearing his feelings on his sleeve, Scar becomes easy to read, serving as a red flag for the rest of the Pride. Scar's vocal resentment towards Mufasa and his desire to be king are clear indicators of his recklessness and inability to think things through. Let's not forget the moment where Scar tries to eat Zazu right in front of Mufasa, only to get caught in the act. What was Scar's plan here? If he had actually eaten Zazu, he would have been exiled. This incident gives us an insight into Scar's impulsiveness.
Well, as far as brains go, I got the lion's share.
However, I don't believe Scar is as smart as he thinks. Rule number 1 of intelligence: if you believe you're the smartest person in the room, you probably aren't. Scar's over-evilness and lack of subtlety are significant flaws in his approach. Rather than keeping his resentment towards Mufasa to himself, Scar lets everyone around him know how malicious he is. It's safe to assume that everyone in Pride Rock must be aware of Scar's deep-seated animosity towards Mufasa, considering the continuous displays like the one we witnessed in this scene.
Stop it. Get some help.
Scar's obvious evilness makes it easier for others to see right through him. If Scar truly wanted to overthrow the king, he should have acted a little more inconspicuous.
Oh no, Mufasa. Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me.
Some could argue that Scar possesses a decent amount of charisma, enabling him to deceive Simba. However, we must remember that Simba was just a child, making him an easy target for manipulation. Furthermore, Simba already trusted Scar from the start, so Scar didn't really need to earn his trust.
In contrast, let's consider Ursula from The Little Mermaid. She had to effectively trick Ariel into trusting her. This is true manipulation, as it shows Ursula acting nice enough in attempt to convince Ariel she is on her side. Despite looking like a villain, Ursula can still excel in deception and manipulation.
Moving on to Scar's plan to kill Mufasa and Simba to claim the throne of Pride Rock. It may seem reasonable on the surface, but let's examine the flaws in his approach. Scar plans to execute his scheme during the stampede. Scar's plan heavily relies on the luck of Mufasa climbing up the exact hill where Scar awaits. What if Mufasa had climbed up another ledge or onto the opposite side? It's a risky gamble that things will play out exactly how Scar envisions. Scar's plan ultimately works out in his favour, but he was lucky. If both Simba and Mufasa had survived, Scar would have undoubtedly faced consequences. Simba would have exposed Scar's request for him to wait in the gorge, leading to Scar getting banished from Pride Rock. In fact, Scar was lucky that Simba didn't expose him for telling him about the elephant graveyard.
An elephant what? Whoa.
Oh dear, I've said too much.
Which in hindsight wasn't very smart either. If Mufasa had figured out the truth, it could have gotten Scar into a lot of trouble. Scar's success is more attributed to luck than anything. Scar's reign as king is filled with poor decisions and incompetence. Let's take a closer look at his choices. Firstly, Scar brings the hyenas into Pride Rock, granting them status above the other lions. However, Mufasa had no trouble keeping the hyenas at bay, and for good reason. The hyenas overeat, and Mufasa knew this. Thus, Scar's decision is puzzling, as he obviously couldn't think long term. Scar's lack of foresight and understanding of the consequences of his actions is evident. It's actually surprising that Scar managed to maintain control of Pride Rock for as long as he did, considering Simba spent several years in the wilderness while Scar ruled. Scar's reign relied solely on the strength of Pride Rock, thanks to what Mufasa had established. Scar himself didn't bring any value, he was simply lucky enough to have a great king before him, who had set up a stable kingdom. Scar's greatest failure as a leader lies in his ability to drastically alter the ecosystem of Pride Rock area within just 4 years. His actions such as overhunting transformed a once vibrant savanna into a barren desert.
This is the worst!
It's astounding to see the destruction caused by Scar and his alliance with the hyenas. He had no plan and everyone would have starved if he had remained king. Scar's tragic downfall can be attributed to a series of bad decisions driven by his lust for power. Firstly, prior to his treacherous scheme to eliminate Simba and Mufasa, Scar had a pretty great life of freedom. Despite enduring his brother's condescending remarks, he enjoyed the perks of Pride Rock without the responsibilities of being king. Why did he have to go and ruin a good thing? The second mistake was entrusting the hyenas to kill Simba after he survived the stampede. Scar could have easily eliminated Simba himself. Instead, he relied on unreliable allies and didn't even get any confirmation of a kill. He simply trusted the hyenas' word. Scar's third mistake was the decision to engage in a physical fight with Simba. Even if he had defeated Simba, the other lions would not have accepted Scar as their king, since they learnt the truth about him killing Mufasa.
I killed Mufasa.
So even if he had beaten Simba in battle, he still would have gotten vanished or more likely gang killed by the other lionesses. Scar's lack of strategic thinking and his impulsive nature were significant contributors to his failure. He didn't have the foresight to anticipate the consequences of his actions. Scar was simply making it up as he went along, and if you have made it this far in the video, you can see why he's actually kind of an idiot.
So, the next time you watch The Lion King, take a closer look at Scar's character and consider the flaws in his approach. While he may be an entertaining villain, it's important to recognise that he falls short in many aspects. Even the most iconic villains can have their flaws.
Thank you all for joining us today as we explored Scar's lack of a plan in The Lion King. We hope this analysis has given you a new perspective on this beloved Disney character. Remember to leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like this video to see more content like this one. But for now, that's the end of the show.